trying to get your picture over there.
So, that being said, we're going to continue. I'm going to pass.
Joe was a very unique man. He made an impact that will far outlive him. You know, when we see something like a shooting star in the night sky, it has the ability to grab our attention for a moment, but then that memory will linger on in our hearts and minds. And I know that that's what Joe's life is doing for you. It's going to be that thing that lingers on for many years. 77 years was far too short a time to have spent with someone who lived as brightly as Joe did. He lit up the world for everyone who knew him, and his memory will continue to light the way for you for years in your hearts. There is a phrase that is sometimes used of individuals who stand out from the rest, and that phrase is the man, the myth, and the legend. And I think that describes Joe well. It's fitting for who he was. He lived a life that was very full. His life was full of love, full of friendship, full of service to other people, full of wonderful experiences, and full of accomplishment. I know for myself, and probably like many of you, I was a huge fan of the Chicago Bulls back in the 1990s, and I was blown away to learn about Joe's connection to Phil Jackson. That relationship started because Joe was a standout all-state basketball player right here in the Quad Cities at West High School. He was a homegrown hero, and then was recruited in 1965 to the University of North Dakota, where he continued to excel athletically. It was at North Dakota that he became teammates and roommates with Coach Phil Jackson of the Chicago Bulls and later the Lakers. I was shown a picture from 1997 when Phil invited his college teammates to the place where the Bulls were practicing and arranged for them to watch a couple of games and then treated them to an amazing party. I can't imagine how awesome of a memory that was. But athletics was far from Joe's only gift. He also had great intelligence. Joe earned a law degree at the University of Iowa, which then paved the way for a distinguished career in law and in public service. After graduating from the University of Iowa, he served as a JAG officer in the Air Force. His time in the armed forces, just another testimony to his serving nature. He then went on to work as an assistant Iowa Attorney General and then district prosecutor for the 7th Judicial District. Joe gave 36 years of his life serving his community right here as a dedicated prosecuting attorney for Scott County, Iowa, where he remained active in his profession until his passing. He hardly ever took a day off. At 77 years old, he was not interested in retirement. He said that he would only quit when he no longer loved what he was doing. Joe had been part of some really big trials over the years, having to endure the stress and heartache that comes from having to deal with the victims of terrible things like that. And those things did take a lot out of him, but Joe always gave his best. And while he was a prosecutor, he was not judgmental. Joe had a reputation for always trying to help people make better choices, to improve themselves in their situations. He became a mentor for many people, often offering direction and helping them to turn their lives around. Joe was one of the good guys. He was a credit to his profession. And this made him well respected among his colleagues and loved by his secretaries and appreciated even by those he had to correct. Beyond his professional achievements, Joe was a cherished member of his community. He was a socialite. He loved throwing and attending parties with his family and friends around. And Joe had a big personality, knew so many people, as evidenced here today. There were no strangers in his orbit. His gregariousness and passion for life made him very popular. Joe always had a story to tell, and he loved opportunities to make new ones. When Kathy would show up somewhere, she always got the question, "Is Joe coming?" He had big fireworks displays, and those were one of his favorite yearly traditions. and they often drew the attention of others from around the area. But somehow, Joe's friends in law enforcement could never seem to find the location of where his fireworks were coming from. His love for the Iowa Hawkeyes was unparalleled, and he enjoyed sharing his enthusiasm with his family and friends. He had a reputation for getting loud during those games. I was told that right here at the Circle, if Joe was watching a game, he knew exactly what he thought about the players and the coaches and the refs. And on more than one occasion, he would take off his favorite Hawkeyes jacket, throw it on the ground, and stomp on it. But his frustrations did not last long. He was always going back to cheer his team at the next game. When Joe went into the hospital, his family had to prep the staff for when the game came on because you could hear Joe yelling at his team from the room. Joe's life was full of joyful pursuits, including traveling to the Caribbean and to the Dominican Republic. He and his wife made 25 of those trips over the years. He loved attending the Iowa County Attorney's Training Conference at Lake Okeechobee with his friend Rob Cusack, going to the Grape Escape up in Galena and spending time with his dogs. Now, Kathy is the one who taught Joe to love dogs. And he would often tell her they weren't getting any more. In fact, he would warn, if you get another dog, I'm going to divorce you. But then he would fall in love and things would just keep going on. Just a few weeks ago, his son brought them a new dog up from Arkansas to replace one that they had lost. He found happiness in the simple things, like his yard, lounging in his swimming pool, and working on his home projects, as well as in finding camaraderie of making salsa and marinara, dancing and singing to oldies like Last Kiss, and sharing beers with his neighbor, Ralph Hughes. He loved to watch Wheel of Fortune, was quick to solve the puzzles, and he regularly did the crossword. And he made his political views no secret to anyone. Joe was very Republican. And like his favorite politician, Joe was also famous for his comb over. Joe's greatest source of joy came from his family, though. He adored his wife, Kathy. She said that he was the best of husbands, always thoughtful, quick to give gifts, and putting a lot of thought and effort into choosing them. He gave 100% in all that he did. He was also close to his children. He was someone that they could go to with anything, sometimes even before their mom, knowing that he would be there to listen and offer his sage advice. His daughter said that she was a best friend and meant everything in the world to her. It was common for Joe to bring roses and other flowers to his wife and girls for their celebrations. He always came through for his family, and he never forgot the important things. Joe loved spending time with the grandkids too. In fact, he adored them. He was patient and enjoyed teaching them new things like how to swim and float in the pool. He would play one-on-one with the boys. He couldn't get enough of watching one of his granddaughters, a standout softball player, in her games. But he'd also do the little things like going to McDonald's with Taylor for pancakes. Simply put, someone as wonderful as Joe simply cannot be replaced. Only time can soften the pain of his absence, and remembering the good of his life can help soothe the tender heart. But in the midst of all of these things, hope does remain. And my hope for all of you, without getting too preachy, is that as you walk through and process through your feelings of loss and as you miss your friend, I hope for you that you will give Jesus an opportunity to fill that void. Church is every Sunday at 10 a.m. Guys, thank you for coming. Blessings upon you. And thank you, God, for time with Joe. Amen? Amen.
All right, everybody. I think it would be, without being said, raise your glass. Kathy, I love you. Cheers to Joe. Drink up our drops. I don't know. Does anybody want to talk? I have a microphone.
Don't get my speech again.
There you go.
It wouldn't be right not to say something in the honor of such a wonderful, great friend. We truly became extremely tight. Joe and Kathy and I met my wife and the neighbors, watching Hawkeye games, singing the oldies. We used to we'd always pull up music videos and watch, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, Last Kiss, you name it. Joel knew everything about music. Joel was a veritable jukebox of music that was beyond the jukebox here. He recovered everything. I mean, it's like Aunt B song and Dashboard Jesus and stuff that you would out of the blue, and he knew the words to every song. Joe was amazing. And the good part, I just heard a laugh back there because that reminds me of Joel's laugh. Joel's laugh was unique, awesome, but he shared it with Sean Connery from Saturday Night Live, the Jeopardy skit. Will Ferrell, Sean Connery would always make fun of Will Ferrell. He and Alex Trebek, he'd always screw with him, and Joel and I loved watching that. And the laugh that Sean Connery did was exactly like Joel's laugh, except missing the snort. You had to have the snort. I just snorted a minute ago listening to the pastor, but God knows, we love him, everybody here. I appreciate him as one of my best friends in the world. And Kathy, we're always going to be there for you. And it's not enough to have one toast to Joe. Here's another to Joe.
I got one other person I would like to have talk, and that would be John Riveresco.
John Riveresco, I know you're here. I just saw you.
He has a great little story how they met. Yeah, it's
Let's pass this one.
I'm John Riviesco. A lot of people in here I don't know. A lot of people in family in here I do know. And just tell you a couple things. I could go on for a long time, but I'll tell you, here's how I met Joe. Kathy and I went to Assumption together, graduated the same class, and I didn't really know her well. She was, you go to Holy Family or St. Vincent's, I forget, but we never really talked. So then I see that she's married to this guy, Joe Grubasich, and we had a reunion. I don't know where it was at, but afterwards, the guy Bob Walden said, "Everybody come on over to the house. We'll have an after reunion party here." And at the time, I happened to be separated or divorced, I forget which. Yeah. So I was all alone, and I went over and I said, "Well, I'm all alone." So everybody else was a couple. And so I offered Mrs. Walters to help her get the drinks ready and the hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And so I really did help with that stuff. And kind of hung around the kitchen by the marble counter and helping hand out beers from the cooler. And so there's Joe Grubasich, who I didn't really know, and Kathy. And people would come up and say, "Can I get a beer?" And I'd say, "Sure." So I'd knock the top of the cooler and it would pop open. And then we'd give them a beer. And somebody else would come up and say, "Could I get a beer?" "Sure." Knock on the top of it. Joe happened to be standing right behind the cooler. And knock on it, pop open. After a while, Kathy's like, "Hey, I want to do that. Get out of the way, Bree." So they said, "Okay, I'll have a beer." She knocks on the cooler, nothing. Knocks on the cooler, nothing. After, get out of the way. I go over, knock on the cooler, pops right open. She said, "How did you do that?" Joe said, "It's magic, you dumb bitch." That's how Joe and I met.
Joe's kind of flipping the tab.
Oh yeah, I don't know what we did. Oh, maybe we had to flip the cap or something. That was the funniest thing in the world. We started to become friends, and then started to see Joe and Kathy at frisbees first of all, then Nick Bus, which was an important stop along our way to the Circle Tap, and then Joe finally ended up at the Circle Tap for the rest of his life. And that's how we became very, very close friends.
And then you were very strict.
Well, yeah. So, you know, after we became friends, we had a lot of fun. Went to Iowa games together with Dick Larson and Steve Schock and Tommy Williams and Bill Davis. We had a ball. We did other things. Kathy and Joe and I, after we became friends, did a little golfing together. And so we would go and we'd be at the tee, and Kathy had pink balls. And I would tee off, and then Joe would tee off, and then Kathy would hit her pink ball, and sometimes it would go sideways 20 feet. And it's like, well, too bad. That's your tee shot. And Joe said, no, it's okay, honey. Here, let me go get your ball, and he'd let her tee off again. Do you remember that, Kathy? Those are the times.
Except when I outdrove you and you said you did.
We had great times. We had great times with our friend Cam Dragu, who was a very special person here at the Circle Tap, R.T. Schroeder. We have some wonderful, wonderful friends. But I want to tell you that how they're so special to me. My wife and I, Angie, got married at Joe and Kathy's house about 33 years ago in the backyard. And during some rough times when I was alone, Joe and Kathy and their kids, Heidi and Dawn and Damon, would have me come out to be part of their family for special occasions. And it's something that, even though many, many years have gone by, I'll never forget, and I don't think they've ever forgotten. We've always remained especially bonded. So I love them. I know everybody else has their wonderful feelings and memories about Joe and Kathy. So I'd like to say, here's to Joe.
Here's to Joe.
Love you, Joe.
Ryan, finish. Mike.
Okay. How about, there you go. All right. So, at the visitation, I got to talk about Joe, and I wasn't sure if I should do it or not, but I'm so glad I did. We all have terms of endearment for the ones that we love, whether it be honey bunny or pumpkin, but Joe's were different. And if you were friends with Joe, then we all know what the term was. Dickhead. I could still, as I walk in the circle here, I could still see him standing on the corner, and everyone would say, hello, Mike, or whatever, and all you'd get from Joe is, hey, dickhead. But the thing about it is that, like everyone said, he was such a family man. He always knew where Joe was. He was never afraid to hide his feelings, whether it be about politics, sports, or especially his family. He never doubted his love for his family, his wife, his daughters, and I appreciate that so much from him. So, in honor of Dickhead,
Does anyone else want to speak?
who's that?
So, my husband and I have always were very privileged to meet the Dervishes family and became very close with them. We met at the bar. And there's just nobody like Joe. My husband has half of a leg, and his favorite saying to Gary was, hey, you one-legged bastard. Or you one-legged prick. But that was Joe. And, you know, we went to dinner every Friday night. Me and Gary, Kathy, Joe, Heidi, Lyle. I'm very happy that they continue to idolize. I love you. I love you. You're out there, and you're always welcome. Here's to Joe. All right. Anybody else?
Rob.
Oh, yes, Rob. This is lovely Rob Cusack, and he brought his beautiful wife, Georgie. Thank God.
One thing to say to me. I've known Joe for a couple of years. We went to Okoboji for a conference maybe 30 times, close to 30 times. Kathy and Joe stood up for my wife, Jane and I, at our wedding in the Dominican Republic. I took pictures of Joe's ass because the bird shit on the back, and it was fun. I got a million stories about him. I'll probably only tell one. We were coming back from Okoboji, and this was just last year. And for whatever reason, Joe's credit card wasn't working at the gas station. And so we were coming back. We stopped at Newton at the same exact place we always stop, because we always do the exact same things. And I went inside, and I was walking around inside the gas station, and I could hear over the loudspeakers the gal at the counter saying, for the gentleman at coffee number 10, can I help you? And I hear Joe's voice over the loudspeaker, and this is a busy ass truck stop. I hear Joe's voice over the loudspeaker saying, my cock-sucking credit card can't work in this fucking machine. And there's moms and dads covering kids' ears. All right. And I just walked through. I don't know. All right, maybe one more. I won't talk about Kathy wearing two different shoes at the airport because he was drunk the night before. Or the time he forgot his passports and O'Hare. And we landed there and they didn't have passports and we were waving at them. From the other side, if we got in and they didn't.
It's true. And he had left him with the Apple lady at Apple.
It was her fault, though. She didn't give him back in.
And they finally came out and said, okay, you guys, you know, Apple has your passports. You know, Joe said, all they want is your ID, Kathy, like your driver's license or something. I said, send me my passport. They just said, just go.
The other one was the scuba diving story. And not the one where you drop the camera in the ocean and ruin that shit. So me and Joe, we're going to go on a scuba diving expedition down in the Dominican. So the thing is supposed to start at 10 in the morning. Me and Joe decided to meet at 8:30 at the bar. So we start pounding. And first question the guy asked us is, have you been drinking? No. So we get on this big ass canoe, and eventually we get our this part. Joe, they gave us wetsuits. I don't know why the hell we need wetsuits in the Caribbean. It's like 85 degrees, but they gave us wetsuits, and Joe got an extra small or something. So I had to rub. What was it? Vaseline. I had to rub Vaseline on Joe. No, So then we jump in the water, and we both were wearing these weight belts, same exact weight belts. My skinny ass drops to the bottom, and Joe floats to the top. So then, after we're all done, we were in a big canoe. There's no ladder off of it to climb in and out of it, so you have to kind of vault over it. Well, Joe wasn't good at vaulting at that point in time, so I had to push his ass up there. And after all was said and done, we looked at each other and said, "We will never speak of this again." And I haven't until this very moment. And I would say, where the hell is my beer? Oh, there you go. Let's drink one more. I got a million more stories, but that's enough for me, man. All right, thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. All right, let's drink.